Bengals and what's going to be an AFC Championship rematch from last season. Cincinnati won it last year. According to Fox Bet Sportsbook, though, Kansas City is favored this time around, only though by 1.5. Ooh, that's a thin margin. Shannon, can you see Joe Burrow going 4-0 against Mahomes this Sunday in that AFC Championship game?
I think a lot is going to be dependent on how healthy that ankle is. Now, we know it's not going to be 100%, but it needs to be as close as 100% as it can get in the next 5-6 days. But I expect it to be a better game. I expect him to be better in this game than he was in the second half, because I think they'll obviously get some treatment in it, Skip. They'll do some things that they weren't able to do. Because, Skip, like when you get injured in a game and you come back in the game, you got to do a lot of stuff on the fly. And obviously adrenaline is pumping, and that goes a long way. But still, now you have a week. They jumped on this thing on Sunday. He's getting treatment 24 hours a day. Probably not going to practice at all, because, you want to try to rest that ankle as much as possible. They're going to put some medicine in it, probably give him a Toradol shot. They're going to do everything they possibly can. Who knows? Maybe even a topical. But I expect Mahomes to play well along with Andy's play calling. Travis Kelce seems to be unguardable right now. He had 14. I wanted him to get 15. I wanted him to get 100 yards. But he caught 14 passes.
That's career high.
Career high.
Yeah.
I think it's the third most in playoff history. But he was sensational. The game will be played in Arrowhead. But Joe Burrow has been there before. Like, yeah, we went there last year. We just went there last year and won.
27-24 in overtime.
And the game's always one possession.
Yep.
So there's a good chance this game's going to come down to one possession. Mm-hmm. But I think their defense, Cincinnati's defense, like, look here, I think they're going to bring some pressure. They're going to test that ankle. I'm going to see if he can move, Skip. I'm just not going to let him sit back there. I am not trusting that, okay, we're just going to play our basic coverages. And no. I want to test him. I'm going to see if he can move. And if he can't move, I'm hunting. I'm unleashing the hounds of hell on him, and I'm coming every single chance.
They have some hounds.
Yeah.
First, I'm going to give you a silver lining, because you love Mahomes, I love Burrow. Mm-hmm. I can make a case that this could be a good thing for Patrick, because sometimes when you're playing a little hurt, not a lot hurt, but when you're playing a little hurt, it makes you a little more focused and maybe a little more careful.
True, okay.
Where you try to go hyper-focus and you're a little more fixated on, I have to do this because I can't do that. I can't trust that I can just escape and run for 20 yards whenever I have to. So I got to read it quickly, and I got to make careful throws that are aggressive, but with some balance to it.
Right.
And too often he'll just try any globetrot or anything. He's going to try to make highlight plays. And that's been the difference between him and Burrow. The difference between Burrow and Josh Allen was Burrow made all the little throws as well as the big one. Josh Allen will miss some little throws, but he'll make some spectaculars. Josh Allen is not as good as Patrick Mahomes. He's like a poorer man's Patrick Mahomes to me, because he wants to be Patrick. He wants to be the apple of everybody's highlight eye. Mm-hmm. And yet, in the end, Patrick can do things nobody's ever been able to do in this game, sometimes to a fault. He gets a little too full of himself because his coach is a little too full of himself.
Right.
And this is an extension of the coach, and the coach wants to polish his genius label. And they try things that in playoff games will sometimes bite you in the butt and get you beaten. Maybe this time he's a little more careful, and he becomes a very high-quality pocket passer, because he can do it if he wants to. Yeah. Where he's not unleashed. He's not...
Well, that's where he kills you, Skippy, when he gets outside the pocket. Because he can make every throw. He can throw the ball over your head for 50, but he can make the pinpoint throw, throw it across his body, and that's where you get all helter-skelter. You start playing backyard football. So you probably want to keep him in the pocket. But, Skip, I got the pressure. I got to test that ankle. I just got to.
Hey, DJ Reader coming up the middle, and Hendrickson and Hubbard.
Yeah. And they do a great job, Skip. They do a great job of Hilton and Von Bell and those safeties. They do a great job.
Hilton's a great blitzer.
Man, I don't know how Josh Allen didn't see that, Skip. The guy came from the Catskills. I mean, he came from like 20,000 miles away.
Right in his face.
Right, and he never saw him.
No, never saw him. This defense is extremely well coached. It plays fast. It plays extremely physically, and it is in the mold of its quarterback because it's got swagger to it. Mm-hmm. Jesse Bates back there and Eli Apple, and they've got player.
Yeah.
They have talent,
Yeah.
and they've had their injuries too because Awuzie, but my ex-Cowboy is down and out. So the point is, how do you beat somebody who's your arch rival 4 straight times right out of the box? That would make him 4-0. Well, that's hard.
Yeah.
I would say the odds are pretty against Joe Burrow.
Right.
But Burrow is becoming another one of those guys, like that guy down in Tampa or ex-Tampa Bay Buck, whichever he is now. He's one of those guys you don't bet against.
Right.
So I'm not going to bet against Joe Burrow at Kansas City for a second straight AFC Championship game just because he just makes all the throws.
Yeah.
And he seems fearless and locked in. The bigger the moment, the better he is.
What they're going to need to do, Skip, is do what they did at Jacksonville. They got to run the ball.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the better running games that we've seen from Kansas City have in the regular season. I mean, the postseason.
Yep.
Is that they ran the ball because
144.
they knew they had to, because Patrick Mahomes wasn't going to be the Patrick Mahomes that we know him to be when he's healthy. And so that's the thing. You're going to have to run the ball. And to slow Hubbard and to slow Hendrickson and DJ Reader, slow those guys down. But running the ball against Reader is no easy task.
He's a monster in the middle. I mean, he's got a little Reggie White. I'm not saying he's Reggie White, but he plays like the anchor of a line where you can't move him.
Yeah.
And he can rush the passer. Pacheco ran angry the other day.
Yeah, but he runs like that.
Yeah.
But Skip, they needed it. They needed it. Jarris McKinnon can run the football. He's a better pass receiver than runner. He's tremendous at blitz pickup. Because he caught Olokun.
Oh, he just rocked him.
And put his helmet right up under his chin.
Yep. What Cincinnati will do is what Tampa did so well in the Super Bowl against Brady, where they just took Kelsey away.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, Levante Davis said, I got him, and I'll take him away.
Yeah.
And he wound up catching 5 balls that went nowhere because they just said, you can't have him today.
Right.
Well, if you take him, Jacksonville just said, you can have him all day.
Right. We'll give him short stuff,
Yeah, we'll give it to you. And again, he didn't get to 100, but man, did he gash him with 2 touchdowns?
Yeah, gash him, probably kept the chains moving. The thing is, Skip, you can do that. You can say, okay, we're going to take Kelsey away, but you got to get pressure. The one thing that the Bucs could do is that they knew Patrick wasn't going to have a whole lot of time. So even if look, Levante, you take him deep. We got those 2 safeties deep because you still had to respect the speed of Tyreek. So they still played that shell coverage. But David knew he could get physical knowing I got help over the top, because you had to put that help over the top to worry about Tyreek also. Yeah. So they knew they weren't going to play single high safety because 203 in the first quarter will get you out of single high safety.
I would say. So I hated it that Patrick got hurt the other day because I wanted to see these guys 1,000% healthy and ready to go. And so now he's got to deal with this.
Yes.
Maybe it won't be quite as bad as it first looked. Maybe with the week, at least he came back and played on it.
Right.
That was a great sign to me.
That's the adrenaline. Now, he's extremely sore yesterday. Probably a little sore today. But hopefully, as the week progresses, Skip, it starts to subside. But he's not going to even be close to 100%. I mean, maybe I think the best he can hope for is maybe 60.
Okay. So Burrow lost 3 offensive linemen. Couldn't tell yesterday.
No.
And then Ted Karras' center, he got rolled up on, and I thought he was going to be out for a while, but he sucked it up and stayed in. Well, he could be real sore today also. So my point is, I don't know how they keep protecting him. But he doesn't seem to care whether he's protected or not.
Right.
He'll take shots in the mouth.
Yes, it's hard, Skip, because you can't play shell coverage because they'll run you out of it with Mixon and P. Ryan. Ooh. So you just can't play cover 2. That soft coverage, Skip, and says, okay, we're going to play with 7 in the light box. They say, no, we'll run you up out of it. And now you drop the safety down and you got to go one-on-one with T. Higgins. You got to go one-on-one with Chase. You got Hayden Hurst, who's a very good receiving tight end. So they have weapons that can make plays all over the field, and plus they can run the football.
So I'm going to say it one more time. I think Joe Burrow is a little better than Patrick Mahomes. You think the flip side?
Yes.
I can also make a case that Joe Burrow's team is a little better than Patrick Mahomes'
I'll give you that. Yeah.
They're looking like the best team left in either bracket right now.
But I can tell you what, I think we both can agree they might be the 2 best quarterbacks that's currently playing. I mean, I don't think you're taking anybody over those 2.
I'm not. I just love Jalen's intangibles.
Yeah.
That's all. But I can't factor it into on the field execution of pass or run plays.
Right.
But listen, speaking of running, Joe Burrow can flat out move.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like
he's probably not going to go 30, 40 yards. like a Jalen Hurts or like a Justin Fields. But what he does, Skip, is that those 5 to 6 yards to get the first down, those, damn. You got to be able to get off the field on third down, especially when you're dealing with either one of these guys. Because the longer they stay on the field, the greater the chance is they're going to find a way to figure you out and get the ball in the end zone. So when you get an opportunity to get them off the field on third down, and that's what Buffalo couldn't do, Skip. They couldn't, because they converted 2 3rd and 10s to stay on the field to keep the drive and got touchdowns out of it.
And he ran one of them. Yep. Here we go.
Joe's got enough mobility to get away from